Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Reimagine Growth Chapter 4, CleverTap's flagship growth series masterclass, where we help you learn the growth secrets driving success for today's winning brands. My name is Srinivas. I'm part of the marketing team at CleverTap, and I'm going to be your host for today. First of all, I would like to thank our partners for this masterclass, Avao, Branch, and Headspin. We got off to a spectacular start on day one, where mobile experts from Branch and CleverTap spoke about customer acquisition and retention. In case you missed it, don't worry, our team will share the recordings with you by tomorrow. So what to expect for day two? For day two, we have speakers from Avao and Headspin who will be joining us and taking us through new growth opportunities and digital experience. Joining us first up is Ashwin Shekhar, the co-founder and CRO at Avao. With more than 10 years of experience in the industry, he's supported mobile champions such as Twitter, Uber, Flipkart, Traveloka, and Tokopedia in scaling their business. Today, Ashwin's going to be doing a growth series masterclass on unlocking new revenue streams with OEM partnerships. Over to you, Ashwin.
Hi, guys. I hope everyone's doing well. Firstly, I'd like to thank CleverTap for organizing this. I'd also like to thank our partners of Branch and Headspin on this joining this Reimagine Growth. I hope you guys learn something today, and I hope it's useful for you. Just to give you a quick intro, I will be talking about new growth opportunities with Avao. How do you unlock new revenue streams for your app with OEM partnerships? Before we jump into anything, I'd like to quickly introduce myself. I'm Ashwin Shekhar. I'm one of the co-founders of Avao. Avao is a leading app growth marketing company based in Berlin. We specialize in OEM on-device user acquisition and advertising. So basically, we work with advertisers who are looking to advertise for their apps outside the generic channels of search, social, and OEMs is a growing space as a key alternative channel to that. In Southeast Asia and India, we have quite a large presence. We have an office in Jakarta. We have an office in India. Some of the key partners we work with in Southeast Asia and India are Nykaa, Byju's, Redbus, TikTok, Union Bank, PayMaya, AstraPay, Bookworm, and Amazon Prime Video. Before we jump into things, I'd like to cover the agenda for today. For the agenda, we'll first be talking about what are OEMs. Then we will talk about the gateway on how OEMs came into the unlock and untapped audience. Then we will talk about something which is very important for every advertiser before they start a new channel is what is this? So the fourth topic we will talk about is OEM app distribution channels. What are the different kind of app distribution channels? Then we can also talk about what OEMs can do for you. I will also show you a few real-time ads on how the ads look and what are the custom kind of ad formats OEMs use. And then we will finally talk about why OEMs are key in the marketing mix, and then how to get started on advertising on OEMs. At any point, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A box, and we have question and answer session, a live question and answer session at the end, where I will be answering all your questions. So let's get started. What are OEMs? OEMs are original equipment manufacturers. So OEMs are equipment manufacturers with their own dedicated app stores and own apps. OEMs can be anything. We will be for this discussion, we will be focusing on Android OEMs, which are the likes of Vivo, Xiaomi, Huawei, Samsung, and Oppo. If you own an Android phone, there is a high probability that you have one of these devices. And what we are going to be talking today is how advertisers can access audience using these devices and using their app stores. So the gateway to an untapped audience. We will talk about now how the OEMs came into building an ad ecosystem. Advertisers have always been looking to engage with their audiences and with their potential customers via new channels. Till now, it was always with mostly search, social, and then there was the other third-party channels. Now, the OEMs have come into the picture with building their own app ecosystems. They have confidence that they have as much information and as much user level data as a search and social platform. And that's why they've been building out this entire ad ecosystem, and they've been helping to monetize their own users. The way they do it is they serve ads and serve ads and acquire users via ad engagements or pre-installs. I will come to these points later on. The OEMs also believe they have a lot of deterministic data points which help them target the right users and help them engage with the audience at the right point and right time. And given the fact that the OEMs have the entire OS and operating system ecosystem, they have the capability to directly engage with the users within the device at any point when the user is interested in discovering new apps. This is one of the key reasons why OEMs are now putting their foot forward and becoming a forefront to an additional channel outside search and social, because of the ability to target users, the ability to have deterministic data points, and so on. The next thing we will talk about is scale and the OEM landscape industry. If you can see, the OEMs currently, the OEMs we mentioned before, have a huge amount of volume and scale across the globe. If you look at India, on the smartphone penetration, the OEMs we talked about, which are Samsung, Oppo, Vivo, Huawei, and Xiaomi, can reach 87% of the unique Android smartphone population. In Southeast Asia, it's 66%. In Europe, it's 27%. And in Russia and CIS countries, it's 36%. You can see that the US is not so embedded with the OEM landscape because these are growing markets, but it is going to be a big part to play in the coming years. Currently, with OEMs, you can reach around 1.5 billion daily active users, and the scale is massive in any of the geos which you look to advertise in within what you see here on the map. OEM app distribution. I'll talk about now the different kinds of OEM app distribution. There is generally two main kinds of OEM app distribution. I'll talk about the pros and cons of each of these app distribution channels. And then you can, if you have questions, feel free to put it down in the question and answer box, and I can go into detail it at later. So the first and most common one everybody knows is pre-install. Pre-install is basically a push form of advertising wherein the advertisers work directly with the OEMs and have deals where they can pre-embed or pre-install their apps on the device. And then from there, when the user activates a device or buys a device, the app is already on the phone. Some of the questionable, some of the advertisers we've talked to have tried pre-install, but some of the feedback we've got is the quality is not great because it's a push, and there are really long attribution windows because from the day you pre-install and the day it goes into the user's hand, it can be a period of up to 6 months by which the app has changed a lot and so on. The other main growing factor is the OEM display ads. OEM display ads is basically what is similar to ad serving and programmatic ad buying on the device. So OEMs rely on user level data to serve ads to the user within the device ecosystem. So each of these OEMs have different kind of ad ecosystem. They built different kinds of ad formats, and they can personalize their ad serving and ad engagement to the users at different points of time. All of these display ads is user initiated, and unlike the pre-install, it is all pull related advertisements. Wherein you serve an ad, if the user is interested in the ad, they engage with the ad, and then they download the app or engage with the app. What can OEMs with Avao do for you? We talked about the scale. We talked about the kind of volumes which OEMs can do. We talked about why OEMs can enter the ecosystem. Now let's talk about what are the different targeting capabilities a lot of these OEMs have. One of the reasons why OEMs are so successful in their advertising efforts is because of the targeting capabilities. Firstly, the OEMs have some deterministic data points where the user itself provides information like age, gender, and location to the OEMs. And when you have this, you can target users with deterministic capabilities rather than probabilistic, because you know whether a user you're targeting is male or female, their age and gender, and there is no, and it is in black and white, and there is no gray area here. The other thing, the other targeting capabilities which OEMs are very confident about is the intent-based targeting capabilities. I'll show you the intent-based targeting capabilities later at a point with when the ads are shown. But just for you to understand, the intent-based is something similar to when an user opens their OEM app stores. For example, if you have a Xiaomi, you open the Xiaomi app store, you have the ability to search and bid based on keywords. This really converts really well for the user because the user is looking for something. At this point, if you serve an ad, the conversion happens and the quality is really good. Infographic is something similar to lookalike targeting and interest-based targeting, wherein an advertiser can choose to target users who have similar apps. Now, let's say you're in fashion app and you want to target users who don't have your fashion app but have competitors' fashion app. Infographic targeting allows you to do that because you can go in and you can select to target only users who have your competitor's app but not your app. Crafting creative ad formats. One of the key differentiations from the OEMs and the other advertising platforms like Facebook and Google is the ability to craft creative ad formats. Because the OEMs are targeting users on the OS itself, they have the ability to create personalized ads. They have the ability to create really, really custom ad formats where the user experience is great, and the OEMs have the ability to target users at a point where the user is looking for something. I will show you the ad formats next. Keep in mind that these ad formats are deeply integrated within the OEM operating system and the OEM ecosystem and the app stores. So this, can you see this? Okay, perfect. So, sorry, I'm not able to see it. But so this basically is an ad which shows you how the ad stores are looking to an audience. So if you look at this ad, you see the ad is shown on the default music player, and the user engages with the ad, clicks on the ad, and the ad is taken to the store on the Google Play Store. For example, this is another example.
We couldn't hear you over the voice of music.
Okay.
Would you mind repeating what you just said?
Yes. Let me load the ad once more. So this is an OEM App Store ad within the Get App Store, which is a Xiaomi ad. If you look at it, you can see the recommended app section. Recommended app section uses appographic targeting and user level data based on apps which they have on the phone. And the user can choose based on the ads which they have apps which they have to download ads which are relevant to them. This generally gives the user the control in terms of seeing what are the kind of ads, and every single app store is personalized to that user based on the kind of ads which they like, the kind of apps which they like, and we have the ability to target users on this. This is another app store placement which is showing within the default ecosystem of the app store of the user interface. Let me see if it's loading again. Yeah. Within the default ecosystem of the ad space, you have the ability to serve ads. If you look at the bottom, you see there are different promoted apps. When the user clicks on the app, he's taken to the Play Store or the Google, the Get App Store, where they can see whether they want to download the app. It is deeply integrated within the ecosystem, so the user flow is completely native. The user doesn't have to get redirected from one place to the other, and the quality of the ad and the personalization is very, very high. This is an app which is called the Splash Interstitial. So this happens when this is on the Oppo App Store. So as soon as you open the App Store, the app opens into a Splash Interstitial, and then the user clicks on the ad if he wants to interest, and it downloads the app. The entire landing page is customized to Shopee, and the entire flow looks great because the user then is interested in the ad and wants to see whether he wants to download the ad and so on. Let me show you that ad again so that you have a better understanding because it took some time to load. As you can see here, it's a splash. The user clicks on it. The landing page is completely customized, and the user can choose to install it. All of this distribution is done via the OEM app stores and not via Google Play app stores. Here is another interesting ad format of the buoy. If you can see at the bottom left, there was a floating icon, which when you click on it, it's like the app of the day. You click on it, it takes you to the landing page. You can see comments, you can see details. And then once you choose to download it, you can download it from there. And then you are engaging with the user at this point of time. And these kind of ad formats are custom ad formats, which we build for advertisers. If they have special promotions or if they have something new coming up, we have the ability to build this and block ad spaces for them during this time. This is again on the Oppo App Store, wherein you have the ability to do push notifications, wherein if you have a particular special promotion or app, you can send push notifications to the user. The user chooses to engage with the app, they're taken to the landing page of the App Store, and then they install the app. These are some of the different kinds of ad formats which we use for advertising for our advertisers. As you can see, all of these are very, very brand safe and fraud free, and all of the ads come with a user initiated engagement. So there is a complete pull factor here, wherein only if the user chooses to click and engage with the ad do they move and they engage with the ad, and then they choose to download it. This is why we see on the OEMs, the down funnel quality is very, very high because the user wants to download the ad and the user is targeted at a particular instant where they are looking for something. Why are OEMs key in the marketing mix? Now we discussed, I showed you where the ads are shown. I showed you what are the targeting capabilities. I told you about the scale. Now let's discuss why are OEMs key in the user marketing mix and why OEMs are so bullish about their ad ecosystem. Firstly, the OEMs have the ability to unlock untapped audience. Unlocked untapped audience are basically reaching users outside the walled gardens. Walled gardens are Facebook and Google. So in emerging markets like in Southeast Asia, India, a lot of people don't have Facebook and Google. And then they cannot be targeted with these users. So when the OEMs have the ability to advertise within the OS and within the ecosystem of their app stores and so on, they have the ability to target users and unlock these audiences who generally are not untapped into. Also, the OEMs are very bullish in terms of facilitating users with better ad experience. As you could have seen from the slides before or the videos before, none of the ad formats was a banner or a format which was intrusive to the user experience. All of this was completely deeply integrated into the operating system, and the user did not feel like he was pushed through an ad or something or was forced an ad. All of this was custom created ad formats for the user, which did not affect their entire usage on the device ecosystem. If they didn't want to engage with the ad, they can just ignore it. The OEMs also are very bullish in terms of retargeting and engagement campaigns because they have deterministic data points in terms of what a user is doing within the device with certain apps. So they also are building, and we also are testing with a lot of users, retargeting campaigns and engagement campaigns for users who already have their app installed but are not engaging with the app. We can do push notifications. We can do special kind of promotions with App Store featuring and so on for special occasions or special event-based occasions for shopping, for cricket-based apps, and so on. The OEMs are also looking at this as an very, very key alternative distribution channel outside Facebook and Google to enable scale for advertisers and to enable audiences which come in a completely fraud-free, completely transparent basis, and the users have the ability, advertisers have the ability to reach audiences via these channels. How do you get started? We talked about the kind of why OEMs are important marketing mix. Now let's talk about how do you get started. There are a few misconceptions here which I will try to address. There is a lot of misconceptions that OEMs need to needs a lot. When you want to integrate with an OEM, you need to have a lot of development work to integrate with their individual OEM billing solutions. There is also a misconception that OEMs are all pre-installed and the quality is very, very low. So this is something which we've talked to a few advertisers, and especially when they've had burnt their finger with pre-install, this is the feedback coming from them. The other misconception, it's very time consuming and not worth the effort. As you have seen from the previous slides, the scale is something which is massive. And if you look at it as a serious distribution channel, it generally works out really well for advertisers because the users are actually ones who are looking for the app and engaging with the app. The final misconception is gaming developers cannot monetize on OEMs. This is again a misconception which I will address later on in a separate slide. So let's break these misconceptions. What do you need to get on the App Store? All you need is an OEM account to create an OEM account on each of these OEM app stores. Feel free to reach out to me. We have a guide at above for creating your account on each of these app stores. Reach out to me after this or drop a line in the Q&A and I can send you the links on how do you go and upload your app on the app stores. If you find it's cumbersome and so on, you can also reach out to us. Above can manage and upload all your app stores for you. And with one single APK, we can update and manage all single app stores for you. This is something which a lot of advertisers prefer to do because when you have 4 or 5 different app stores, it is difficult to maintain app version in each one. A lot of bigger advertisers choose to do it themselves. Smaller advertisers who work with us prefer to help us manage all of this. From a requirement perspective, when you want to upload on the OEM app stores, all you need to do is give us the APK or upload the APK which you upload on the Google Play Store. It is very, very simple, and the only difficulty is finding the right app stores and the contacts, which we can definitely facilitate and encourage you to get on the App Store. Are you a gaming developer who has not explored OEMs yet? This is something coming back to the gaming developers who we're working with. We've had a lot of gaming developers who come up with a misconception that I am not going to upload my app on the app stores because I need to have localized billing solution of each of these OEMs integrated. Again, let me break this myth. This is not true. All localized OEMs, billing solutions are not a requirement for all OEMs. Samsung and Huawei do have this. So there is a little development work, but Oppo, Xiaomi, Vivo do not require localized billing solutions. You can continue to use the local billing solution which you're using for Google Play, and you can upload the same APK. All of this happens within the App Store, and the user can still continue to make in-app purchase using the Google Play solutions. Monetization gets affected. This is another misconception which I addressed earlier, that if you distribute your app via the app stores outside Google Play, your monetization gets affected. If you go right now on the Google AdMob page and you choose to distribute your app, they have a checkbox where they're saying which are the app stores which your app is available in. And most of these have Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, and Huawei. So if you distribute your app via these app stores, your monetization does not get affected. You will continue to be monetized by any of the video SDKs, any of the app stores which you have, and you will still be monetized with your video ads and so on. We can manage all your app stores on your behalf. There is also a lot of advertisers on the gaming field who says my developers do not want to manage these. So if you are interested, Above can manage this on your behalf, or you can straightforwardly go create your account and just upload all your APKs there. Every time there is an APK deployed on Google Play, you can just take the same APK and deploy it on these app stores. The maintenance is very, very regular, and it is not high effort at all. So I think this gives you a good understanding in terms of what are the different kinds of scale you can reach with the OEMs, what is the volume, what is the different kinds of ad formats, what are the different kinds of targeting capabilities. And I think it also breaks the myth in terms of how difficult it is to get on the OEM app stores. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the question and answer box. I will answer them throughout the chat, or feel free to check out our website. It's www.above.tech, or write to us at ashwin.shekhar@above.tech, or contact@above.tech for any more queries. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ashwin, on showing us why OEMs are the gateway to untapped audience for today's winning brands. On that note, we do have a couple of questions. If you would like to answer them.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I can do it right now.
Okay. Sure. So Asriana is asking, what are the differences or advantages of using Avao for OEM compared to connecting directly with the manufacturers?
So it's a good question. Definitely the fact is each of these OEMs have different ad ecosystems, and each of these ad ecosystems have a different learning curve. Now, if you want to do it, great. If you have the bandwidth and effort, you can go in and bid on each of these OEMs. Your learning curve is going to be a little steeper. Whereas if you work with Avao, we have the ability, because we've been working on all of these, we generally aggregate all OEMs, and we have been tuned to performance. So we know where to buy, what works in a different OEM, what kind of, for a fintech app, what OEM works, what for a fintech app, what kind of placements work, for a shopping app, when do you do seasonality branding, and when do you do seasonality campaigns. This kind of aggregation of knowledge, because we are an OEM aggregator, is with us, and your learning curve is not that steep. And when you choose to work with Avao, we can aggregate all of this, and we can help you manage all the 5 OEMs at one point of time using one single point of contact.
Great. We have one more question from Saurabh Malhotra. Saurabh is asking, is the cost per reach or cost per impression for ads through OEM integration better than that on Google Ads?
It differs. It differs from market to market. Google is definitely stronger in EU and other global markets. But if you look at India, Southeast Asia, LATAM, the cost per reach and cost per reach for ads via OEMs is much cheaper. Mainly because within the OEMs you have the ability to target users and serve ads within the device ecosystem at a much higher level. And in Google, you need to have a Google integrated SD app, or you need to open the Google Play Store to reach the user, or you need to have google.com and search within that. Whereas with the OEMs, even within the default screen, or within the -1 screen, or even within the app browser, we have the ability to serve ads. So the reach is much higher for the users when they open and integrate, when they work with the OEMs.
Got it. Thank you so much, Ashwin. Guys, please keep your questions coming in the Q&A box. Ashwin's going to be there with us for a while, so he'll definitely answer your questions over chat. So up next, we have another masterclass by Angie Rai from Headspin. Angie is a senior director at Headspin, and she's been helping clients achieve flawless digital experiences across their users' devices, networks, and locations. Today, she's going to be doing a masterclass on how apps like Tinder or other Silicon Valley giants are delivering flawless customer experiences through smart app localization. Over to you, Angie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angie Rai, and I'm a Senior Director of Sales here at Headspin. And today I'm going to be talking about how you can improve customer experience through smart app localization using Headspin. So to start with, I just wanted to kind of take a moment to talk about some of the challenges that a lot of companies today face when it comes to delivering a flawless digital experience. So as you can imagine, when you're a company trying to reach many different users in different parts of the world, you're going to come across a lot of variables when it comes to the type of carrier networks that your users might be using, whether it's Wi-Fi or carrier. You might be, coming across challenges when it comes to understanding the type of device types that your users are using, the different operating systems of the apps, the different locations, the different app versions, different types of CDNs and network traffic, and then also just the type of content that your users might be using, whether it's audio or video or text. And what happens is that it becomes really difficult to track and monitor and test across all these layers of stack and really truly understand how your users are experiencing your application. So that is essentially where Headspin comes into the picture. So Headspin was founded back in 2015. We're headquartered in Palo Alto, though we have presence all over the world. And our mission is essentially to help every company deliver a perfect digital experience. So we work with different enterprise clients across industries and verticals. Some of the clients that we work with are here on this slide, and you can see that we're working across industries. So we work with telecom companies, banking companies, gaming companies, retail, software and platform, government, call it kind of all across the board. And we have global coverage on real carrier and Wi-Fi networks. So we're in over 70 different countries, over 100 different locations, and you can actually access our devices and get a real world experience of what your users are seeing out in the globe. So if you look at Headspin at a high level, we are a digital experience AI platform, and we're mainly organized into these 4 main areas. So the core of everything that we do is our global device infrastructure. So this is where we have thousands of real devices. We don't do any simulators. We don't do any emulators. We only do real devices. And they're actually connected to real carrier and Wi-Fi networks in over 70 different countries and over 100 different locations all over the world. The beauty of the Headspin platform is that you can start testing without the use of an SDK. So that means you don't need to make any code changes. You can essentially just log into the platform and begin testing. And I'll actually show you an example of that here shortly. The second piece of it is our test automation. So this is where Headspin can integrate into your CI/CD workflow. We can help you do pre and post-release testing. And we support all different types of testing frameworks, whether it's Appium or Selenium or any type of testing framework, really. And then the last 2 fall under our data science platform. So the first one is performance and machine learning. And this is essentially where our platform can automatically surface issues and root causes across the layers of stack, including audio and video quality monitoring as well. And then insights to actions essentially is where we can deliver insights around where there's areas of improvement when it comes to the user experience and the performance of your application. And if you look at how our customers are currently using Headspin, there's quite a few different use cases. So the first one is pre-go live. So this is during the development phase of the application. They're using Headspin to do quality assurance testing, functional testing, and performance optimization. The second one is post-go live. So this is when the application is actually live in the market. Different teams are using us for doing performance monitoring, ongoing continuous monitoring, benchmarking, alerting, etc. The third one is audio and video. So a lot of clients come to us with use cases related to being able to test the audio quality, the video quality. So we're actually able to do this using our audio video box, which is a closed enclosure, no outside sound, no outside light. And you can essentially have devices within the audio video box and test and monitor the quality of the audio and the video. And then the last one is our product team kind of focus, which is where teams come to us trying to understand how does their application perform compared to peers in their market. So we can actually do benchmarking. We can help them test in different markets all over the world. So we collaborate quite closely with product teams, with engineering teams, and with marketing teams. And if you look at our infrastructure, kind of how are we set up? The idea here is that essentially our devices are located in this technology, which we call a P-box. And these P-boxes are located in data centers all over the world. But that being said, there's a few different deployment models that you can follow. The first one is an on-premise model. So if for whatever reason, if a client wants to have the devices located within their facilities, connected to their networks, we can actually set up this P-box within a client's environment. The second one is the cloud model, which is essentially exactly what it sounds like. The idea being that, the devices would remain in our data centers and you would access them using the cloud. So you could just, click the device that you want to select in a particular market and begin testing, which is again what I'll show in the demo. And the third one is a hybrid model. So you could have on-premise devices, you could have cloud devices, and have them all show up in the same UI here. And the last one is an on-the-go model. So this is where clients will come to us when they have a use case where they want to test, whether it's driving down the highway, walking down the street. So we can actually set that up to be an on-the-go testing model where you can see how does a user experience the application while on the go. In terms of the type of devices that we support, so we support mobile, Android, and iOS devices. But in addition to that, we also support desktop browsers. We support OTT devices, things like Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, Roku, etc. We can also support screenless and speaker devices, whether it's Google Home, Google Minis. If you wanted to test Alexa commands or Google Assistant commands, you can do that as well using our platform. So I wanted to just take a moment here to show the Headspin platform live and give you a sense of how it actually works. So here you can see this is actually the Headspin remote control. So I've gone ahead and I've logged into the Headspin platform. And you can see here that I've got devices in all different parts of the world. So in the US, in Brazil, in Germany, Finland, UK, India, etc. This is just a small subset of the countries that we offer. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and selected a device in Germany that I want to be able to test. It's an iPhone device in Frankfurt. So when I click start, this is essentially what I would see. This is an actual device that's located in Germany, and I can actually start interacting with this device right away. So I can scroll through it. I can, do anything that I would do with the device in my hands. I can check my email. I can make phone calls. I can download apps. Again, anything you would do with the device in your hands. And then on the right-hand side is information about the device itself. So this device is connected to a carrier network in Germany. It's got a phone number associated. You can do remote debugging. You can check the battery health. You can actually run automation scripts if you wanted to run some automated tests. You can take screenshots, control the phone from a volume perspective, turn the phone on and off, etc. And the idea here is that, anytime I want to run a test using Headspin, what I can do is I can actually click on this button here that says Start Recording Session. And when I record a session using Headspin, what I get is this, and this is a Headspin performance session. So here on the left-hand side, you're going to see the details about this test. So this test was done in Mexico City. It was done on an LTE network. And here on the right-hand side is an actual video of the test taking place. So here you're going to see that the example of the app that we've used here is Duolingo. And you can see that while the test is taking place and while the user is going in and opening up the app, the Headspin platform is actually tracking across all of these different KPIs. So we have things like impact time, the impact count, the page content, the frame rate, the network connections, the download speeds, the CPU usage, the battery drainage, the memory drainage. So all of these metrics are actually being tracked here in real time as we're running the test. And then here on the left-hand side, we actually call these our AI issue cards. And you can see here that this is a platform identifying that there's 86 seconds of impact that could be improved using, depending on different reasons. So here, it's actually prioritizing where it thinks the issues lie. So there's things like slow server issues, low page content. So if I click on this one here, it actually tells me exactly during my test where there might have been areas of low page content. So this might have been, a loading screen, a blank screen, a black page, essentially, and then it's giving me recommendations on what I can do to help fix that. So it's saying, you might want to look at things like long network requests, network saturation, usage in your system time series. So this is kind of like the bread and butter of the Headspin platform, because a lot of times, developers will come to us and they'll say, typically it would take me weeks or months to figure out the root cause of an issue that a user is seeing on the ground. But using the Headspin platform, they're essentially able to kind of replicate, recreate that issue, see it live, and then get to the root cause of why it might be happening in the first place. So based on what I just showed you, I wanted to take a moment here to just talk through some of the case studies that some of our customers are using us for. So the first case study is a Silicon Valley-based tech company. We've been partnering with them since 2019, and we have a very close relationship where we help partner with them on providing performance analysis services. So, when they first came to us, there was 3 major goals that they had in mind. The first was that, there's many developers who use their platform, and they wanted to be able to improve the developer success by helping them understand and address technical performance gaps. The second goal was being able to deliver rich content to the developers faster to help them drive user engagement and revenue. And then the third one was helping them, collectively improve the experience, not just for the developers, but obviously also the application end users. So as all of us know, when you've used an application, when you're on your phone at any given point and it's a slow experience, there's latency, there might be a lag or a loading screen. It can be an extremely frustrating experience as a user. But even as a developer, you want to make sure that, all of that is seamless so that you don't have users dropping off, so you don't have a loss of revenue. So Headspin is essentially helping this client achieve these goals by doing 2 things. The first is that we're actually doing app peer performance. So we're looking at different apps in different groups every week. It could be travel, it could be music, it could be whatever it is, whatever the category is. But we're actually looking at particular apps and comparing that app's performance against peers in that market. And then the second thing we're doing is we're actually tracking the app performance on different user devices. So we might be looking at low tier devices, whether they're budget phones. We might be looking at mid tier devices, higher tier devices, and we're comparing the performance on one device versus the other. So if you look at the overall impact that we've had, just with this client alone, so far we've already helped the client, deliver some of these recommendations to more than 1,000 developers, enabling them to have a higher degree of success in the platform. And this is just one app case study that I pulled out here, but you can see here that Headspin's recommendations are helping them actually increase the conversion and install rate for their top used applications. So in this example here, we're actually giving feedback where this application is taking 16 seconds before the user can even interact with it. And then we're actually identifying what the issues are that are resulting in that slowness. So the first one is a slow API. The second one is a slow download. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we're actually helping them understand how do they perform depending on the type of devices that they're using. So budget devices, mid-range devices, high-end devices, and how do they perform depending on the peer kind of benchmarking experience as well, right? How do they compare against their competitors in the market? So, in addition to that, I just wanted to kind of wrap up the first example for this case study by talking about what this client is also using from a device testing perspective. So they actually have access to 200 plus devices in over 40 different locations all over the world. This is a small subset of the countries that they're actually testing in today. And the team is actually using our devices to do local device testing, testing user experience, testing technical reviews, doing network testing on Wi-Fi or carrier networks all over the world. They're consistently testing to see what are the changes to user experience, release over release, testing based on the location, the device type, the device models. And then in addition to that, they also do audio and video quality monitoring. So kind of seeing, how long does it take for a video to load? How long does it take for a audio command to register? So essentially, we're able to give them a real world experience of how their users are experiencing their applications in the real world. The second case study that I wanted to wrap up with here was Tinder. You can actually find this case study on our website. So essentially, as we all know, Tinder is a very popular dating app with global reach, over 196 countries, millions of users. And the challenge that they were facing was that there was a lot of broken translations that they were finding their way into production. So they weren't being caught in time and they were actually live. This was having an impact on, the adoption of new features. It was affecting user experience. It was just an overall frustration for a lot of the engineering teams. There was inconsistent, international user experience. Because they have such a large international user base, the company didn't have a very easy or cost-effective way to test a lot of their new features in these international markets. They don't necessarily have the infrastructure to set up real devices connected to networks all over the world. And then the third issue that they were kind of facing was that it was, taking a lot of time, and there was a lot of disconnect around how localization should be, tested and how it should be referred to. So what Headspin did is we actually set them up with devices all over the world. We're able to help them test new features. We're able to help them flag localization issues, and then actually easily share those findings with other teams and with other users. So we essentially help them fix a lot of their localization issues. We help them create a more consistent global experience, and then essentially helping their team come together and make sure that their priorities are in alignment. And you can see here that we're actually helping them, save a lot of time when it comes to the actual release cycles, right? Making sure that they're able to find issues quicker during the QA stage, during the final review stage, and then even after they've released those changes. So that's essentially what we've been able to do with some of our customers. I hope you found that helpful. I'm happy to take any questions. If you have them, feel free to leave them in the chat. And if not, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Angie, for your time. Guys, we actually have Rohan from the Headspin team here to answer any questions that you might have. If you have any questions for Rohan, please leave your question in the Q&A box to your top left. I think we have a couple of questions. Rohan, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So Tatiana is asking a question. Do you work with mobile applications in Mandarin, and can you help with localization in China?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a range of test devices in China, Beijing and Shanghai and Hong Kong. And actually, we have a large presence with customers in China as well. So absolutely, please reach out to us and we'll show you exactly how we can help you.
Okay. We have another question over here. Could we use the Headspin platform to compare the performance of our video app to other video apps?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a great example because we've actually got TikTok as one of our biggest customers, and they are using our platform to compare their product with other products as well. Should I deep dive into that a bit, or do you think we're out of time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me share my screen. I'll show you something. So if you see here, this is a session we ran for TikTok, and you can see, for example, this is streaming. But actually, this testing, it comes with a bunch of standard video metrics. So the video quality mean opinion score, blurriness, blockiness, contrast, brightness, colorfulness, downsampling, page content, and frame rate. And the amazing thing is, since these are just real devices, you can run as many different apps as you want and compare these standard metrics across those apps. So that's a great use case, and we'd love to talk to you about it.
Okay. And does Headspin work with voice assistant apps and physical devices such as Alexa or Google Home?
Absolutely, yeah. So there's two things. We have an ability to pair a phone with a Bluetooth card, so you can actually stream the audio through your browser and record the audio and analyze it. We have some analysis tools. And the second thing is we actually have a soundproof box where we can test Alexa, Google, Nest, etc. And we can actually tell you the audio quality and how it compares to a reference. So all of that is part of the platform as well.
Noreen has a question for us. She's asking, do you need internet connectivity or can it work without having an internet connection?
So the end user has to use their browser to access the devices. So you do need an internet connection. Okay.
And Jordan has one last question for us. How is Headspin addressing concerns related to data privacy?
Okay. So essentially the phone itself is not, it's not a user's phone. It's a test phone that Headspin provisions for you. So all that data is secure, is independent on that phone itself. We don't know anything about the users. And then that data is all saved in our cloud, restricted by access. So it's encrypted.
Got it. Thank you so much, Rohan. I think these are the questions for now. We'll give the audience another 30 seconds or so to drop in any more questions, either for Rohan, or we also have Ashwin over here. Ashwin can take another question for OEM partnerships as well. Fatima is asking a question for you, Rohan. Yeah. Fatima is asking a question for you. Can Headspin also identify the remote areas for people analytics in Pakistan?
Yeah, so we actually have a portable option where you can take Headspin to anywhere in the country and test this apps there. So just an example, we have Jazz from Pakistan as a customer, and they've got Headspin set up in rural areas as well. So it's definitely an option if you want to test, say, the performance of Facebook in a rural area or anything like that. It's all possible.
Great. Thank you so much, Rohan. Thank you to our audience for joining in as well. I don't think we have any other questions. We hope you had a great two-day masterclass with CleverTap, where we've covered topics such as customer acquisition, customer retention, OEM partnerships, and lastly, smart app localization. We hope you learned the secrets that are driving success for today's winning brands. Do reach out to our speakers over LinkedIn or over email. They'll be happy to take questions from you. In case you want to know more about CleverTap, do write to us at marketing@clevertap.com, or you can refer to our website, clevertap.com as well. Thanks everyone for joining in. Hope you have a good day.